She applied for secretary job but enters wrong office. Cold CO assumes she's arranged bride. Before we get into the story, leave a comment and let us know what city you're watching from. And don't forget to rate the story from 0 to 10 at the end. Enjoy the story. Act like you're my wife, the billionaire boss said, but his condition took her by surprise. Lucy sat across from Gabriel Stone in a quiet corner of a Manhattan restaurant, her hands resting stiffly on her lap. The place was filled with people in designer clothes and soft music playing from a live band. But all she could focus on was the man sitting in front of her. Gabriel looked every bit the billionaire CEO. Sharp black suit, silver cufflinks, calm face that gave nothing away. He leaned closer, his voice low but firm. Act like you're my wife tonight. Lucy's eyes widened. What? She barely managed to whisper. He didn't repeat himself. His expression stayed cold, controlled, like this was just another business order. A waiter approached to pour wine, and Lucy forced a polite smile, her heart pounding. She didn't understand why her boss needed this, or why he had chosen her. For a moment, she thought about walking away. But something in his eyes stopped her, a mix of confidence and something else she couldn't name. What could make a billionaire ask his assistant to pretend to be his wife? Tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories. Tomorrow's story is one you won't want to miss. Lucy adjusted her glasses as she stood outside Gabriel Stone's office, clutching a folder filled with company reports. The morning had been tense. A leaked press statement had almost cost Stone Enterprise $1 million partnership, and she had stayed up all night fixing it. She hadn't even had coffee. When the intercom buzzed, his voice came through, steady as always. Lucy, come in. She stepped inside, careful not to trip over her nerves. The office looked exactly how she expected it, spotless, quiet, with large windows showing the Manhattan skyline. Gabriel stood by the glass, his jacket off, sleeves rolled up, holding a phone to his ear. He ended the call and turned toward her. You handled that crisis better than half my senior team, he said. The investors are impressed. Lucy smiled faintly. Just doing my job, sir. He didn't smile back. Instead, he studied her for a moment, like he was trying to measure something about her. Then he walked to his desk and set down a silver invitation card. I need you to attend a business dinner with me tonight, he said. It's important. She hesitated. Do you want me to take notes? No, he looked her directly in the eyes. I need you to act like my wife. The words landed so sharply that she almost dropped the folder. Your wife? Gabriel sat down and leaned back in his chair. It's a long story, but the investors I'm meeting are traditional. They trust people who appear family-oriented. I can't go alone. Lucy blinked, unsure how to respond. You could hire someone for that, she said carefully. I don't trust strangers, he replied quickly. You already know how to read a room. You're smart, calm, and loyal. That's what I need tonight. Her heart raced. This wasn't part of her job description. Pretending to be married to her boss, a man who rarely smiled and never explained himself, felt like a mistake waiting to happen. Still, she remembered her unpaid bills, her younger brother's tuition, and how close she'd come to losing her job last month. She looked at him again. So, what exactly do you need me to do? Gabriel stood and walked toward her desk, his tone calm but urgent. Tonight's dinner will decide whether a major international firm partners with us. They value trust and stability, especially in leadership. They asked to meet me and my wife. I didn't correct them. Lucy's mouth opened slightly. So you want me to pretend just for tonight? Yes. Just for one night, he said, his gaze steady. You'll attend the dinner as Mrs. Stone. Nothing more. She let out a nervous laugh, thinking he might be joking. But his expression didn't change. The seriousness in his eyes told her this was real. "Why me?" she asked quietly. He paused, searching for the right words. "Because you don't play games. I can trust you to handle yourself without creating a scene." She looked down at her shoes, thinking. Every instinct told her this was too personal, too strange. Yet there was something in his voice, not arrogance, but weariness, maybe even desperation. Lucy sighed. "All right, I'll do it, but you'll owe me an explanation after tonight." A faint smile touched his face, the first real one she had seen since working for him. "You'll have it." He handed her a black card. "Meet me at the Grand Regency Hotel at 7. Dress for a formal dinner." As she turned to leave, he added softly, "And Lucy, thank you." Outside his office, her thoughts were spinning. She tried to focus on work, but every few minutes her mind went back to his request. Pretend to be his wife. What could possibly go wrong? By evening, she stood in front of her small mirror at home, wearing a simple but elegant navy dress borrowed from her friend. She applied light makeup and tied her hair back neatly. For the first time, she realized how far she had come from the small Arizona town where she grew up. When she arrived at the hotel lobby, Gabriel was waiting near the entrance. He looked different, polished yet distant. "You look perfect," he said quietly. Her stomach tightened. She forced a smile. "Let's just get through tonight." As they walked toward the restaurant, Lucy tried to steady her breathing. She had no idea what the night would bring, but she knew one thing. After tonight, her life at Stone Enterprise would never be the same. The Grand Regency Hotel ballroom shimmered with soft light and quiet conversation. Waiters moved between tables carrying glasses of wine, and a grand piano played in the background. Lucy walked beside Gabriel, her hand lightly resting on his arm, her heart pounding hard enough to hear it. People turned as they entered, not because of Gabriel alone, but because of her. To everyone else, she was Mrs. Stone, the elegant wife of one of New York's most powerful men. She had to remind herself that this was just an act. At their table sat 3 key investors from overseas, Mr. Hahn, Mrs. Delgado, and Mr. Reed. All of them had sharp eyes and polite smiles that didn't quite reach their faces. Gabriel introduced her smoothly. "This is my wife, Lucy." She gave a polite nod and smiled. "It's a pleasure to meet you all." Her voice didn't shake, though her nerves screamed beneath the surface. Mrs. Delgado leaned forward with interest. "You two make a lovely couple. How long have you been married?" Lucy glanced at Gabriel, who didn't flinch. "Almost 2 years," he said confidently. 2 years, Lucy echoed softly, forcing a small laugh. "Feels like yesterday." The table chuckled, and the conversation flowed easily after that. Gabriel talked about business strategies, while Lucy listened carefully, adding thoughtful comments when needed. Each time she spoke, Gabriel glanced at her with quiet surprise. He hadn't expected her to handle it so naturally. Halfway through the meal, Mr. Hahn leaned back and said, "You're a lucky man, Mr. Stone. A woman who understands business and grace? That's rare." Gabriel gave a modest smile. "Yes, I'm very lucky." The words caught Lucy off guard. He said them so sincerely that, for a brief moment, she almost believed them. As dessert was served, a familiar voice echoed across the room. Gabriel's face changed slightly. Lucy followed his gaze. A woman in a red gown walked in, her hand linked with a tall man. She was stunning, confident, and unmistakably familiar from the company photo archives. Gabriel's ex-fiancée. Lucy suddenly understood part of the reason for this charade. Her pulse quickened, but she kept her composure, holding his hand tighter as the woman approached their table. Gabriel stood as the woman in red reached their table. "Gabriel," she greeted smoothly, her tone carrying the confidence of someone used to being noticed. The man beside her, sharp suit, polite smile, gave a brief nod. "Clara," Gabriel replied, his voice steady but distant. "It's been a while." Clara's eyes flicked toward Lucy, curiosity flashing across her face. "You're not here alone, I see." Gabriel placed a hand gently on Lucy's shoulder. "Clara, meet my wife, Lucy." Lucy rose slightly, smiling with quiet grace. "Nice to meet you." Clara tilted her head, studying her. So this is the woman who finally managed to get Gabriel to settle down. Impressive. Lucy's heart thudded, but she didn't let her expression falter. "I'd say it takes two people willing to meet in the middle," she said lightly. The investors chuckled. Gabriel hid a small smile, his fingers tightening just slightly on her chair, not in warning, but in support. Clara's fiancé joined the small talk, but tension hung beneath every polite exchange. Lucy answered questions with confidence, balancing charm and wit effortlessly. Every time Gabriel looked at her, pride flickered in his eyes. When the music shifted to a slower tune, a waiter invited couples to the dance floor. Gabriel extended his hand toward Lucy. "May I?" She hesitated but nodded. As they moved to the floor, her nerves calmed under his steady lead. "You didn't tell me your ex would be here," she whispered. "I didn't plan for it," he murmured back. "But you're handling this better than I expected." She met his gaze briefly. "You underestimate me." He smiled faintly. "I see that now." The dance felt longer than it should have. Around them, the room blurred. Just two people pretending, yet something unspoken passed between them. When the song ended, they returned to the table, their roles perfectly intact. As the night wound down, the investors expressed their approval. "It's rare to see such unity," Mr. Hahn said warmly. "We look forward to working with you, Mr. and Mrs. Stone." Gabriel thanked them, but his attention lingered on Lucy. For the first time, his expression softened completely. Outside the hotel later, the night air was cool. Lucy turned to him, her voice calm. "So, did we convince them?" "Yes," he said. "You were remarkable." She nodded, pulling her coat tighter. "Good. Because tomorrow, I go back to being your assistant." He smiled faintly but didn't answer. Something told her this wasn't over. The following morning, Lucy arrived at the office earlier than usual. Her mind replayed every moment from the night before. The dinner, the dance, the way Gabriel had looked at her when no one was watching. It had all felt too real for an act. She sat at her desk, typing a report, when the door to Gabriel's office opened. He stepped out, calm as always, holding a folder. "Lucy," he said, "join me inside." She followed him, closing the door behind her. His tone was businesslike, but his eyes carried the faint trace of something heavier. "About last night," he began. "You did exactly what I needed." She crossed her arms. "Needed? You mean pretending to be your wife?" "Yes," he said simply. "It was a requirement. The deal with Hahn Group could only move forward if they believed I had a stable family life. Their chairman doesn't trust bachelors." Lucy blinked, trying to process it. "So that's why you dragged me into it? Just to close a deal?" Gabriel didn't flinch. "You were the only person I could trust to pull it off." Her chest tightened. "That's not trust, Gabriel. That's manipulation." He didn't respond immediately. "You could have refused." "I could have," she said quietly, "but I didn't know the truth." Silence filled the office, thick and uncomfortable. "Why me?" she asked finally. "You have a dozen people who would do anything you say." He hesitated, eyes lowering briefly. "Because you wouldn't ask for anything in return. You're honest. You don't care about my money or my name." Lucy stared at him, torn between anger and confusion. So that's supposed to make me feel better? He took a step closer. No, it's supposed to make you understand. The air shifted. She could see a flicker of vulnerability behind his usual calm. Something unguarded, almost human. I know you think I used you, he said, and maybe I did. But last night, when you looked at me across that table, it didn't feel like an act. Lucy's breath caught. She looked away. Don't say things like that if you don't mean them. He paused, then spoke softly. I wouldn't if I didn't. Before she could respond, a knock came at the door. His assistant entered quickly. Sir, Mr. Hahn is on the line. He wants to confirm the family dinner next week. Lucy froze. Family dinner? Gabriel nodded. Yes. He wants to meet my wife again at our home. Her pulse quickened. You don't have a home. Not one that includes me. He gave her a look that made her heart skip. We'll have to change that. That evening, Lucy sat in her apartment, staring at the invitation Gabriel had sent her. Dinner with Hahn Group executives, hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Stone. She let out a shaky breath. Everything about this was wrong, but walking away could destroy the career she'd built. Her phone buzzed, a message from Gabriel. Gabriel, I'll pick you up at 7. Thank you for doing this. Lucy, this is the last time. But as she hit send, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping into something deeper, something neither of them fully understood. The following week, Lucy arrived at Gabriel's penthouse, a place she had never seen before. It was elegant but quiet, almost lonely. He greeted her at the door, wearing a soft smile. You look beautiful, he said. She ignored the compliment. Let's just get this over with. During dinner, she played her role flawlessly, answering questions and laughing at moments that demanded warmth. But beneath the surface, her heart twisted. Every smile felt heavier, every word harder to speak. After the guests left, she stood by the window, looking out over the city. You got your deal, she said flatly. You can stop pretending now. Gabriel approached slowly. You think it's pretending? She turned, tears threatening. What else could it be? He stopped beside her. It started as an act, yes. But somewhere between the act and the truth, I stopped knowing which was which. Lucy looked at him, uncertain. For the first time, she saw him not as her boss, not as the billionaire everyone admired, but as a man who looked like he might actually care. I don't know if I can believe you, she whispered. Then give me a chance to prove it, he said. Not as your boss, but as the man who fell for you without meaning to. Her lips parted, but she said nothing. Outside, the city lights shimmered, and though she wanted to walk away, her heart refused to move. 3 days after the dinner, Lucy's phone wouldn't stop ringing. At first, she ignored it, but when the third call came from her friend Mia, she finally picked up. Lucy, have you seen the news? Mia's voice was sharp with worry. What news? Lucy asked, her heart already racing. Everyone's talking about it. You and Gabriel, your pictures from the dinner, the articles. They're calling you the billionaire's secret wife. Lucy froze. What? Check any business blog. It's everywhere. Her hands trembled as she opened her laptop. Headlines filled the screen instantly. Gabriel Stone's mystery wife revealed at investor dinner. Who is Lucy Hale? The billionaire's quiet bride. Photos of her smiling beside Gabriel were all over the internet. Every headline twisted the truth a little more. She slammed the laptop shut and grabbed her phone, calling Gabriel immediately. He answered on the second ring. I know, he said before she could speak. The media got hold of it this morning. You knew, she demanded. I found out an hour ago. I'm handling it. Handling it. Lucy's voice cracked. They think I'm your wife. My friends are calling me, My boss is asking questions. This isn't something you just handle. He was silent for a moment. Come to my office. Please. Lucy hesitated, then hung up and went. When she arrived, Gabriel was already waiting, pacing behind his desk. The PR team is working to contain it, he said quickly. We'll release a statement saying it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? She repeated bitterly. So you'll just erase me like I never existed? He stopped, meeting her gaze. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant, she said quietly. You needed me when it helped you. Now you're trying to erase the mess. Gabriel's jaw tightened. You think I wanted this? I never wanted to drag you into my world. But it's too late to undo what's been seen. The press won't let go easily. Lucy sighed, her voice trembling. Then what do you want from me now? He looked at her, and for the first time, he didn't sound like a billionaire trying to fix things. He sounded like a man afraid of losing something real. I want you to stay until it's over, he said softly. Just until we make a public statement. Then, if you still want to leave, I won't stop you. Lucy took a deep breath. Every instinct told her to walk away, but something about his tone made her pause. Fine, she said. But after this, I'm done. He nodded slowly. Understood. That evening, as they sat in his office waiting for the PR call, Gabriel broke the silence. You think I don't care, he said quietly. Lucy didn't look at him. You don't make it easy to think otherwise. He gave a small, sad smile. That's fair. But the truth is, I haven't stopped thinking about that night since it happened. She turned toward him, uncertain. You mean the dinner? No, he said. The dance. When you looked at me like I wasn't the man everyone said I was. Her heart skipped. That was part of the act, Gabriel. He nodded, still watching her. Maybe. But it's the only moment that felt real. The air between them grew still, heavy with words unspoken. Lucy opened her mouth, but before she could speak, his phone buzzed. The PR director's voice came through the speaker. Mr. Stone, the press is waiting for your statement. Are we confirming Mrs. Stone's identity or denying it? Gabriel's eyes locked with hers. We'll confirm. Lucy's breath caught. What are you doing? She whispered. He spoke clearly into the phone. Yes. Lucy Hale is my wife. The line went silent. The PR director cleared his throat. Understood, sir. Lucy stared at him in disbelief. Why would you say that? Because I'm tired of pretending, he said. And I won't let them treat you like some secret to be erased. Her throat tightened, emotions flooding her chest. Gabriel, you can't. I already did, he said softly. Now it's up to you whether you want to walk away or see where this goes. The statement went public within the hour. News outlets buzzed with excitement. Reporters camped outside Gabriel's building, and social media exploded with speculation. Lucy sat alone in his office after the storm began, staring out the window. Everything had changed again. But for the first time, she wasn't sure if she wanted to go back to how things were. Outside, cameras flashed. Inside, her heart fought between fear and something she didn't want to name yet. The next morning, Lucy woke up to chaos. Her phone was filled with notifications, hundreds of messages flashing across the screen. Some congratulating her, others full of gossip and speculation. Is it true you married him in secret? Why didn't you tell us? You're trending everywhere. She switched the phone off. The noise was too much. She hadn't agreed to be anyone's wife, and now the whole world believed she was. There was a knock on her apartment door. When she opened it, Gabriel stood there, no suit, no polished look, just jeans and a shirt. He looked tired. May I come in? He asked quietly. She hesitated, then stepped aside. He walked in and sat on the edge of the couch, looking around like he didn't quite belong there. "I thought you might want to talk," he said. Lucy crossed her arms. "You told the world we're married. You think I'd want to talk?" He looked at her, eyes weary. "I did it to protect you. If we denied it, the media would have torn you apart. They'd call you a liar, accuse you of being my mistress." This way, they stopped digging. She shook her head in disbelief. "You don't get to decide that for me, Gabriel. You don't get to fix my life by lying more." "I didn't lie," he said firmly. "Not completely." Her brow furrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" He stood and took a slow step toward her. "You may not have agreed to be my wife legally, but in every way that mattered. The way you stood beside me, defended me, cared when no one else did. You became one." Lucy's heart pounded. "That's not fair," she whispered. "No, it's not," he said softly. "But it's true." For a moment, neither spoke. The silence between them carried too many words left unsaid. "You can still walk away," he continued. "I'll handle the fallout. I'll tell the press we've separated, that we want privacy. You can go back to your normal life." She stared at him, trying to find anger, but all she felt was exhaustion and something dangerously close to longing. "Why are you doing this?" she finally asked. He looked at her, steady and honest. "Because somewhere between pretending and protecting, I fell for you." Her breath caught. "I don't expect you to feel the same," he said. "But I had to say it before this all ends." Lucy turned away, pacing slowly. Every rational thought told her to walk, to run. But her heart refused to listen. "You think feelings fix everything?" she said quietly. "This isn't a movie, Gabriel. People are judging, watching, waiting for me to fall. My name is in headlines I never asked for." "I know," he said gently. "And I'll take the blame. I'll do the interviews, the press conferences. I'll say it was all my fault. You won't have to face any of it." She looked at him then, really looked. For the first time, he wasn't the billionaire everyone feared. He was just a man trying to make things right, even if it cost him everything. "Why do you care so much?" she asked softly. He gave a faint smile. "Because you remind me what it's like to be real." Her throat tightened. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I know you don't trust me yet, but give me one chance, not as your boss, not as the man who made a mess, but as the one who wants to earn you." Lucy's eyes glistened. "And if I say no? Then I'll let you go," he said simply. "No questions, no press, no lies." She stood there, heart racing, torn between the safety of walking away and the terrifying pull of staying. Finally, she whispered, "I don't know if I can trust you." "Then don't," he said softly. "Just give me time to prove you can." Tears slipped down her cheeks, but she smiled faintly. "You're impossible." He smiled back. "So are you." That night, Lucy sat by her window, staring at the city below. The world still buzzed with rumors, but for the first time, she didn't care what they said. Somewhere between the lies and the truth, she'd found something she didn't expect, a connection she couldn't ignore. She picked up her phone and typed a message. "Lucy, dinner tomorrow?" The reply came seconds later. "Gabriel, I'll bring the wine." For once, she let herself smile. A week later, the media storm began to fade. New scandals replaced their story, and the world slowly moved on. But for Gabriel and Lucy, everything had changed. They met quietly at his office late one evening, after most of the staff had gone home. The city lights glowed beyond the glass walls, and the room felt different now. Less like a place of business, more like the quiet space between two people trying to start over. Gabriel stood by the window, sleeves rolled up, his tie undone. Lucy sat across from him, a cup of tea in her hands. "I spoke with Mr. Hahn today," Gabriel said. "He congratulated us, and asked if we'd attend the company's charity event next month. Lucy smiled faintly. Does he know the truth yet? Not completely, Gabriel said. But he said something interesting, that real partnerships aren't about what people see. They're about what survives when no one's watching. She looked at him for a moment, then set her cup down. You know this can't go on forever, right? The public still believes we're married. I know, he said quietly. That's why I've been thinking. Maybe we should tell them the truth together. No PR team, no statement. Just us. She raised a brow. And what truth would that be? He smiled gently. That I'm a man who made a mistake and found something real by accident. Lucy shook her head, a soft laugh escaping. You really think the world will understand that? Maybe not, he admitted. But I don't care anymore. I only care that you do. She looked away, her chest tightening. He always knew how to disarm her, not with grand gestures, but with honesty. I don't know what happens next, Gabriel, she said finally. But if we're going to face it, we face it honestly. No more pretending. He nodded. Agreed. There was a quiet pause. The city hummed faintly below them. Then, slowly, Gabriel walked over and reached for her hand. She didn't pull away this time. I never thanked you, he said softly. For what? For changing the way I see everything. You reminded me that not everything worth having can be bought. Her lips curved into a faint smile. You sound like you're learning. Maybe I am, he said, squeezing her hand lightly. And maybe this time I'll get it right. She looked at him, eyes warm but steady. Just remember, if you ever lie again, I'm walking out for good. He smiled. Noted. 2 days later, they appeared together in a quiet interview. No flash, no media circus. Just two people telling the truth. Yes, Gabriel said calmly. We pretended to be married for business reasons. It was wrong, and I take full responsibility. But in the process, something unexpected happened. The reporter leaned forward. And what was that? Gabriel turned to Lucy, his voice soft. I fell for her. The reporter smiled faintly. And how do you feel about that, Lucy? Lucy took a breath, glancing at him before replying. It started as a lie. But sometimes the truth grows out of the places we least expect. What matters now is what we do with it. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was honest. And honesty was enough. Weeks later, the noise had finally faded. Lucy returned to her quiet life, still working with Gabriel, but now as an equal partner. Not a secretary, not a prop, but someone whose voice mattered. One Friday evening, they walked out of the office together. The air was warm, the city alive. Gabriel carried 2 cups of coffee and handed her one as they stood beside his car. So, he said, glancing at her with a smile. Mrs. Stone, where to? She laughed softly. You really need to stop calling me that. He smirked. Not planning to. She rolled her eyes but smiled. Let's just go somewhere quiet. No cameras. No lies. He nodded. Sounds perfect. They got into the car, the city lights reflecting off the glass, and for the first time, there was no pretense. Just 2 people starting something new, uncertain but real. As the car disappeared into the night, Lucy looked out the window, her heart lighter than it had been in a long time. Maybe life didn't always follow the plan. Maybe the story that began as an act had turned into something worth keeping. What started as a lie became something neither of them expected. A second chance at truth, trust, and love. Do you think Lucy made the right choice staying with Gabriel? Tell us what you think in the comments below, and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us bring you more stories like this one. And tomorrow, we'll be dropping another powerful story you won't want to miss.